Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today, um, I we're looking at Terrifier 2. I don't really have a joke to segue into what we're looking at today. So yeah, this Terrifier 2, it came out about a month or so ago. Well, if you thought the first film was violent, you haven't seen anything yet. Holy shit. But anyway, so this movie is a massive improvement over the first one. One is this one has a plot. And, well, characters that feel like real human beings. And like I said, I didn't want to insult people who, again, for the first film, I don't really feel like it wasn't really much of a movie. It was more of an excuse to have a cool killer kill people in ultra gory ways, and for that, it's fine. Again, I enjoyed it. I liked it. But this film, it's a step up, and it outdoes the original in literally every single aspect. So let's talk about the story here. Terrifier 2 takes place exactly 1 year after the events of the first film, and showing how Art the Clown, who in the end of the last film blew his brains out, somehow is resurrected by some evil entity to kill again. And the selected targets he has found for himself this evening are a brother and sister. And yeah, but like I said, this movie has much more of a plot than the first film does, where like shit happens in a conjoining narrative. Like it feels all like one single thing. It's not like where it's just a whole bunch of wonky ass things brought together, you know. Like where it had the two party girls, then it had the people who were exterminating rats, and the crazy lady. Like, that was more of just garbled things brought together. This film actually has a proper narrative and story that it's trying to tell, rather than just, well, people end up together and a shit ton of people are murdered. So, another thing that is better in this film is, like I said, the characters feel like real people, not just, well, I mean, slasher victims. Of course, yes, there are definitely moments where the characters occasionally slip up and go into that slasher trope kind of victim, but for the most part, yeah, it's definitely an improvement, and the acting is definitely an improvement too. Again, I don't want to be mean to the actors in the first film, but the acting's much better this time around. And, yeah, like I said, story and characters, much better than the first film, definitely a big improvement. Now let's go into the other thing that this movie has probably already garnered knowledge and awareness of, is that, it's violent as fuck. Like, I thought you really couldn't outdo the first film in terms of gore, but this film found the way. And this movie feels way more, like, mean-spirited, but mean-spirited in a way that somehow still manages to be fun. It's weird and complicated, but yes, Art is still murdering people in horrific ways, but it somehow manages to remain fun. Like, it's mean-spirited, but it's still fun, and most gory horror films kind of lose track of how you make the gore, like, still fucked up, but still fun to enjoy, and not make it mean-spirited. Like something like movies like Hostel, which I do like that movie, but or the Firefly trilogy. Those movies have fucked up gore, but most of the time it just feels mean-spirited with those films. But with this film, I think since I mean, if you assuming you've seen the first film, you kind of already know going in that yeah, shit's gonna get fucked up. So I think this film gets a pass and still remains fun. Yes, it's still horrific, and it's to the point where people are vomiting at in the theater. But I don't know. It might just be me because I've seen so many gory slashers, so that very well could just be me. But who knows? Now, if I had to give one criticism with this film, is that towards the end of the movie, the plot kind of fumbles a little bit and gets really weird, and is a little hard to interpret. It gets very, it's just odd, and kind of doesn't make sense. But honestly, I wasn't really expecting any of it to make sense. So having just the ending not make sense, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I'm just gonna say this movie is a huge improvement from the first film. Like, I can't understate that enough. That, yeah. And so, would I recommend Terrifier 2 to audiences? Only if you could handle it. Trust me. My father probably, like, I don't think he handled it that well. But, yeah, but if you're a sick fucker who enjoys movies like this, oh yeah, definitely, yes, go ahead. But if you're a bit squeamish, I'd recommend you watch it with someone who isn't. That way, like, if you freak out, you can have someone to talk to, of course. But, yeah, Terrifier 2, again, like I said, the only criticism that I have is that the ending being a little confusing, and I think another thing is that I wish it didn't really rely on slasher tropes as much. Like, again, like I said, the acting characters is much better than the first film, but like I said, they do fumble a little bit and go into those slasher tropes that Scream makes fun of relentlessly. So maybe have the characters not fall into those kind of tropes as much. Again, they don't do it as much as in the first film, but yeah, overall, I'd say Terrifier 2 is definitely a contender for best horror film of the year. But I'll decide which film gets that honor at the end of next month. But yeah, putting Terrifier 2 in the old blood bag here, I'm gonna give it a solid 80. No. I'm gonna give it a solid 90%. I definitely think for a slasher film, it is very good. I enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.